When you're actually ready. Go. All right. So this is Steve. We are using an alternative technology since I was unable to get my webcam to work. And we'll post this out to the group. But I wanted to show you guys a couple of steps along the process to making. So this is what you guys made yesterday. And then you showed your students making things like this and even more complicated things. And I don't know if you can see this. So this is something I made. This is my little flying saucer that I said I was going to make. And basically it's made out of magnets and tape. And the only thing that's here that's not from the kit is the little lid from the ranch bottle from the fridge. It was used. But I also wanted to talk about some things that other teachers and students that we work with have made. This is the Altoids tin that the students used. And you'll notice, if you look in here, there's a battery. It's basically the same battery as what's in the blinky lights. The only difference is they put an infrared LED here and then use some wires to connect it together. What I think is cool about this is this got a little magnet so they could stick it to the whiteboard. You know, so basically they would stick it to the whiteboard. And then on the back side, they stuck the wires that came from the LED and the battery here, and then they used a little piece of aluminum foil to make a switch. And the battery's dead, or I would show you, but basically as soon as they touched this, then this would come on, and this was their first prototype. Well, the students had access to a 3D printer, and so this teacher of ours, Clark Barnett, gave the students design challenges and said, well, why don't we see who can make the best smartboard pointer? And they worked together in teams, and eventually this is the team that won. Well, then the students got to thinking, well, we spent so much work creating this, maybe we should make one of these for every teacher in the school. And Clark said, well, that sounds like a good idea. Where are we going to get the money? And they said, I don't know. And Clark said, well, we could go to the school board. And so the students actually used this project as a prompt to go to the school board and get money so that they could make a bunch of these for their teachers. And so they put a little LED in, and it has a little 9-volt battery in here and a switch. And they 3D printed all the cases for their teachers. And in order to do that, they put together a presentation, and they had to write a proposal, and they had to put together a slide deck. And Troy talked earlier about making, and then writing, and then repeating. And essentially, that's exactly what the students did. They made something, and then they wrote about it, and they continue to repeat this. This is another project that they made. This belongs to the California Mission Project. I don't have time to tell you what it does, but it has switches, and it's 3D printed, and there's batteries in there, and it lights up cool stuff on a map. We've worked with students who make all kinds of cool stuff. This is 3D printed in one piece, and you see the little wheel there moves. And this is made by one of the students in that class in North Carolina that we mentioned. This is one of my favorite projects here, and Chris linked to a video with the catapult project and the initial page where you guys signed up. And this is basically how I envisioned this working. This and this. You know, this is how I thought that the catapult should work. You know, so this is one that has a little rubber band, and then you cut this and it goes flinging. This is one that uses the wood itself as a spring. And I thought the students would just like put this together, but they didn't. We've put this in front of students, and I can't tell you how many different crazy ways you can make a catapult with these little parts. We had one group of students that actually turned this into a crossbow. They actually somehow built this all together, and so instead of flinging it like this, they pulled it like a crossbow and let it go. So the important thing to notice from all of this is that you can start with something really simple, like this, and then you can move up to something like this, and then from there you can go to something like this, and if you keep working on it, you can go to something like this. And this is just a slightly more complicated version of a blinky light. You have to be able to program a little, but not much, just a little teeny weeny bit in order to blink a light, and then to blink two is a little more complex, but this is put together by an 11-year-old named Cody. And I just want you to understand that making is a process of starting small and then moving up and continuing to move forward. And so anyone can learn to make, and they can learn to make really cool stuff if you practice and practice and practice, and then let your students practice and practice and practice.